identity building and so on. Art writers, musicians, composers, and also these theater people, actors, have always played an important part of the identity, and it's still today, until today. So I think in many ways you can say that the arts still play a really important role in the country. So this is theater faculty. There is also, you can say, a disc theater, which is a theater for our students, where they also perform and, you know, perform their pieces during the studies and so on. There are various kind of festivals held, especially the biggest one is called Zlomvas, which means like break your leg. When you say Zlomvas means good luck or break your leg in English.
Yeah, you have 2 legs.
Two, yes, in one hand. So this part of the theater production is very well established, and this Zlomvas festival, which is usually held at the end of the school year in May, in late May, for about 3 days. There are various theater schools from the Czech Republic, from Brno, because in the city of Brno there is Janáček Academy of Performing Arts that has also theater faculty, and students come from Brno, from Slovakia, from Bratislava, and from some other cities in Slovakia, and they perform their pieces that they have learned during the course of the year, you know. So it's kind of a nice get-together of students, you know, have, you know, fun and all that stuff, you know, how students can. So it's, and the whole festival is also organized by the arts management students from the theater faculty, for example. It's part of their second year kind of curriculum to organize this, you know, to get the funding and all these things you have to do to find the accommodation and all that stuff for the students. So this is a very lovely festival for the students. So this is theater faculty, and then the film faculty is at the, as I already mentioned to some of you, just facing the National Theatre. So if you see, maybe again, it's not so far away from Charles Bridge, it's the second bridge there. It's a National Theatre that was built in the late 19th century. And opposite there is a palace that the film faculty has in its own for the students, where all the lectures are held, but also FAMU has, the film faculty of film and TV school has a film of FAMU studio building, which is again in Central Park, not so far away from the Old Town Square, where all the productions are made, like film productions. The students are taught to do feature films, you know, animation, but also TV productions. Okay, so this is the whole building, whole facility for students actually to what they learn in theory in the main building. They then eventually learn to produce in this studio.
Dean can always use the permission to
thing to create
Venezuela.
So we have also photography department, for example, where students are being taught to become photographers, and various different departments like of direction, animation, documentary films, and so on. Screenwriting.
This is not the studio. This is just for teaching.
A big part now of the film faculty is the FAMU International. That FAMU, the film faculty, has a long tradition and strong tradition already of international relations with various universities, not only within EU countries, Europe, but also in the United States. And we also, there are some connections, I think, in Mexico and Brazil and stuff, so small ones, but of course there are lots of American students that come here for summer courses that are being held at FAMU, you know, shorter stays, like 3 weeks to 2 months, you you know, from various universities. They set up a program, they come, they learn, they go home. And they spend time, of course, in Prague, in maybe June, July, which is, of course, a very beautiful period of the year to stay. So these are the three faculties. And as far as the international relations
Bude ti chtít dát do cesty, ale nebere nic než takový starý rezervní mlýnek.
10 years ago,
Bez toho mlýnku se nevrací.
the year, I think, 1998, when the so-called Bologna Declaration was set up in the city of Bologna, which in Italy, which holds the oldest university in Europe, also probably that was the reason to be held there and start the whole kind of movement to synchronize all the higher education level studies within EU countries. So the whole system now, and of course the whole process is not finished yet, but the major idea is to divide the university studies into three levels, like bachelor studies, like undergraduate studies, which in Europe is 3 years, unlike in the United States where they have the college studies 4 years usually, you know. But here it's 3 years or 4 years sometimes, depending on the field of study. So you have undergraduate studies, graduate studies, master's level, usually 2 years, and then there are also doctoral studies, PhD, which eventually the students do on their own, or they do the research, maybe they teach a little bit here and there also. So the same structure has been adopted at our school as well, this kind of Bologna Declaration, which in many ways I think has enhanced in many ways the studies in the country to be able to be comparable with studies within the EU countries. So, in other words, nowadays students our students, for example, can go to study abroad in EU countries within this so-called Erasmus program that enables to students, but also pedagogues, teachers, and now even the administration staff to go and maybe spend some time abroad with our universities or academies with which we have bilateral agreements, So this is also important for students. They can go from 3 months up to 12 months to stay maybe 2 semesters, 1 semester at a theater faculty, I don't know, in Helsinki. So, of course, and this is also financially supported by the Brussels money, but also our Ministry of Education. And also the amount of money differs according to the country, because of course to go to London is a little bit more expensive than to go, I don't know, to Helsinki, okay, because of the standard of living and so on, all these costs that you have to have in mind in order to live a decent life. You are not rich, okay, but you can do, of course, and study, which, of course, in many ways, lots of students, not only from our school, but also other universities, of course, welcome as an opportunity to be exposed to different cultures. And so, and in many ways, I think it's still one of the most important part of the exchange. Not only to study, which also is important, of course, you have to study, but also to be able to be part of the cultural milieu of the different country and, speak the language. And of course, nowadays you can say that in this respect, English has become this kind of important language to communicate. And I'm sure you know it as well. So this is important for our students to go. But at the same time, if they go, also the students come from other countries. So we have several students from different EU countries. Within this Erasmus program, they come and study with us at the 3 faculties. I don't know, Jirko, how many students do you have now from at the music faculty? From abroad?
International students, we have about 10 students.
10 students. 10 students.
Where is From the Euro community?
From the
Yeah.
EU community.
Yes, in the EU countries.
Not yet from Asia. Oh, be very.
Yeah, so, but I think we have, especially at the music faculty, maybe you can say some students from Asian countries as well already.
Ah,
We have some, but mostly from Japan.
Ah, yes.
Cooperation, and especially for string instruments. They are
String instruments, yes. So the young musicians,
What is it? Theory?
violin, string, violin,
Violin or viola?
viola,
Mostly
violin.
violin.
Mostly violin, yes. So there are some students in this respect to welcome also from Asian countries. I think at DAMU we have, especially at this Department of Alternative and Puppet Theater, there are students from South Korea, 2 students I think, to do the design, the stage design, because there is also I should also mention the stage design department at DAMU, and the theater faculty has a long and also strong tradition and high reputation within the EU, within the world community, because the stage design, the theater has always, as I said already before, it has a really long tradition, and also the quality is very, very high and also respected around the world, because every, I think, 4 years there is this Prague Quadriennale for the stage design, and all the various stage designers and companies come to Prague to be part of this kind of fair, you can say, where they show what they have come up to, and all these things that usually, are part of the theater community. So stage design, and this also program there at the stage design department, part of it is also offered as a grad studies in English. So this is yet another part of our maybe activities which are in the kind of strategic development of our activities. We would like to also offer some of the courses, some of the programs in English, because generally the educational system, which you may know, in Europe generally, but in the Czech Republic in particular, the university studies are, so to speak, free. Okay, people or students do not pay tuition yet. There are discussions whether they should or not. So we are in the middle of this discussion. But generally in Europe, I think tuition fees, if students pay, they still pay kind of not too much. They pay, I know in Holland, I think they pay like 1,000 or 1,500 euros a year. In England also a little bit. I think in France they don't. Of course, if they do, they go to strike, And Italy also, I think they do not pay. In Austria also, they do not pay. In Germany, it differs. Some universities, some states, like Berlin, they don't pay. But I don't know, in some other parts of Germany, they pay. But generally speaking, of course, the tuition fee is not as high as, for example, as in the United States, this private, prestigious universities, of course. But, so also in the Czech Republic, students do not pay tuition fees. So if they study in the Czech language, they don't have to pay. Also, international students, if they want to come and study here at our school, of course they have to go through this entrance exam or audition, kind of process, and so if they are accepted, eventually they can study, but they also have to know the language. Okay, so Czech language. So, and then, of course, the study is free. But in order to maybe to offset this kind of thing that maybe the Czech language can be difficult for many international students, we try to also offer some of the programs in English. Then, of course, these programs, they have some fee to it, but they are not too big. But this is, especially this, for example, this stage design. at the theater faculty. There are some programs of cinema direction at the film faculty. The whole year round program, okay, the photography as well. But mainly the whole idea is now at the moment to have these short round programs like the 3 to 8 weeks programs that are offered in English. At the music faculty there are programs that are offered also in English. And I think that so far there are, because we have just started this kind of activities, I think there are no, if I'm not mistaken, there are no students studying in English at your faculty yet. Maybe it will improve. But generally that's the idea behind the international relations.
Because
Also.
the entrance examinations for instrumental performance are very difficult, and also the study is expensive. So when someone is so good that they can be accepted, he can study anywhere, and you know, to pay so big tuition fees is not easy.
Yeah, so there are lots of kind of still problems that we have to deal with in order to make it maybe more accessible and so on, you know. So these are the basic maybe ideas, essential ideas about the school. Of course, generally we are not a big school. Like we have about 14 to 1500 students all together. So in 3 faculties, so it's about 400, you can say, at each faculty. And of course, the major part is in this undergraduate studies, then a small part in graduate studies, and then of course some of them study the PhD studies, which in our system it is possible to study even PhD. Some of these areas, not all of course, but some of it too. So 1500 students, of course, we are, sorry?
Very ideal.
Well, yeah, well, it's probably also the problem is that we are a small country. We have about 10,200,000 people, which is, of course, you have to have also in mind that there is another, as I said, Janáček Academy of Performing Arts in Brno, that has only 2 faculties, like theater and music. Film is only here in the whole country. Of course, we do not need probably so many film directors. It's 1 or 2 that make us famous. You know. So yes.
1 to 3 people is enough for everybody.
That's right. Yeah. So I'm sure you know that of course the arts, it's a kind of a very subtle area of human activity, and of course the talent is there, but of course it's not too much. And so we also have to have in mind that there are students who want to study, but they have to go through really kind of very difficult entrance or audition process in order to be admitted. You know, it's not generally easy to really to be enrolled unless you show a really a talent in order to be part of the either music, theater or film. You know, there are of course lots of students who want to do study here, but so lots of them they try again and again, you know. So there are mainly these ideas about our Academy of Performing Arts in Prague. And is there maybe any question you would like to ask me?
Yeah.
Do you think?
Oh yeah, I think, first of all, we thank you very much for having us today, and in actually relatively short notice. And we have great expectation if we can continue this operational relationship. Actually, the size, the student bodies of our school is about the same.
The same.
We have 1,600 students, 100 teaching staff in. She's a dean of visual art, 100 teaching staff, and about 100 teaching staff in the School of Performing Arts. and about 60 teaching staff in School of Film and Television, and about 40 teaching staff in master degree program. And unlike, the tradition that you built here, which actually have a long also tradition of European art and education, Jakarta Institute of the Arts just became 70
In
in 1970.
1970, yes.
Our country just have this independence in 45. Just when we
Yeah.
founded the school, we just independent. So we are a very new country, but the old tradition I think spread it. The Oriental tradition. We have Indonesia is a very large country to 240 million people. Jakarta alone, like 12 million, so the same like Czech. Jakarta alone, and I think what we try to do in Jakarta, since we also have another art school around in the provinces, which concentrate on the traditional art and also modernization of tradition, but everything come to Jakarta. Also the international art community come to Jakarta. So we are kind of place where the melting pot, where modernism, postmodernism, traditionalism, and everything goes in one place, and we try to create based on that multiculturalism, pluralism things.
Right.
And that's why when we start our tradition of school, like for example film school, the first teacher is come from many schools from around the world. Their teacher coming from French tradition. The people come from Russian, study in Russia, and then bring all these things. And I think so. We have accustomed to this. I'm sorry,
It's fine. It's easier, you know.
very easy. Accustomed to the ideas of changing. Ideas of changing, and I think what made it special this last year, there is a strategy, the planning of the Department of Education to push the art school to go international. And we already have a contact with CalArts in Los Angeles, California, Institute of Art, and we have some kind of agreement to have this kind of exchange, like you told. You have within Erasmus and Bologna's agreement.
Right.
So like we will expect, they will expect us to send 2 or 3 students a year, free of tuition and vice versa, for our courses designed like just I think around 3 weeks to 8